Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Insurtech Show, where we explore the intersection of insurance and technology. Today's episode is titled Tech, Talent and Timezones, and we're thrilled to be shining a spotlight on a hidden gem in the insurance world, the state of Ohio. Ohio is not only home to a thriving insurance industry, but is also a hub of technological innovation. Combine the two together with companies like Western Southern, BeamBenefits, and hubs like Cintrifuse leading the way, Ohio is at the forefront of the Insurtech revolution. Our expert speakers from these companies will be sharing their insights on how Ohio's talent pool and favourable time zone makes it the perfect location for Insurtech growth. We'll also be joined by representatives from JobsOhio and the Ohio Department of Insurance, who will shed light on the state's business-friendly policies and supportive ecosystem. Also joining the FF News crew in Ohio was Jim Maroose, a finance influencer that needs no introduction. But one piece of information that you'll find interesting is Jim is also an Ohioan himself, so there was no better person to ask Ron Rock some of the insights that Ohio can provide fintech and insurance organizations. Fun fact, Ohio has been dubbed the insurance capital of the United States due to its high concentration of insurance companies, including Nationwide and Progressive. The insurance industry in Ohio provides jobs for over 100,000 people, and it generates billions of dollars annually in revenue. But it's not just the insurance industry that makes Ohio a great place to live and work. Ohioans enjoy a low cost of living, beautiful natural landscapes, and a rich cultural heritage. So join us as we explore the state of Ohio, its thriving insurance and tech industries, and why it's a fantastic place to call home. Get ready for an engaging and informative episode of the Insurtech Show, Tech, Talent and Time Zones.
I think that at a very fundamental level, the way Insurtech has developed so far has been insurance companies looking to do more digital in their businesses. I think the future is the opposite. It's more digital platforms scaling into large insurance organizations. Some of these businesses, Beam I think is fortunate to be one of them, are already well on our way to getting to the scale that really puts us truly at the size and capability of the incumbent insurers that we compete against or just aspire to become one day. But I think more and more companies are going to be using the fundamental digital infrastructure and technology as a weapon, whether that's on underwriting and data topics, customer experience topics, and a lot of other things. I think Ohio is in as good or better of a position than any other state or region in the country to continue to be a leader in InsurTech. I think that's already true. But what allows Ohio to win is its proximity to customers, proximity to talent that's affordable and accessible and very interested in the insurance industry because of its legacy in markets like Ohio. But it also has a pragmatism that comes with the market and the people that operate in this market. Insurance is a very difficult business. It takes patience, it takes discipline, it takes risk management. You can't blitz scale an insurance business. And those attitudes don't exist to the same degree in Ohio as they do maybe in other major markets. People here want to build strong, sustainable, yearly growing businesses and have the patience and discipline to see it through to the end, and I think that's a huge advantage in the insurance business.
Let's look at partnerships and ecosystems in a more geographical sense than innovative. What does operating out of Ohio bring, and how has that enabled you to really go on and thrive in this ever increasingly innovative landscape?
Well, Ohio's an awesome place to actually construct from. We are in the middle of America. I mean, you can't get more middle America than being in middle America. Coincidentally, we were called Western Southern Life in 1888 because it was more the Western Southern boundary as our country continued to expand. But this remains the middle portion of America. But even within a 2 to 4 hour drive, you're getting a huge swatch of the population. So you're in reality exactly where the consumer base and where that relevant base is. The second thing is it's always been a great laboratory for insurance. Going all the way to the top of state in Cleveland, you have Progressive and Medical Mutual. In Columbus, you have Nationwide and Grange and State Auto. And down here in Cincinnati, we have Western Southern, Great American Insurance, and Cincinnati Financial. All of these companies have been in 50 to 100 years in the business, all varying types, auto, home, property casualty, some are health. So it's also a great laboratory for that. It's a great financial area. So it's wonderful for banking, it's wonderful for venture capital. So what we've enjoyed is a lot of the fintech and insurtech startups are right here in Ohio. And clearly with the help by JobsOhio, they've fortified that to make this a great destination for people to think in doing that. We've always been great for education. There was a period of time after the Civil War, there were more colleges in Ohio than England.
Wow.
But we've always had great education, state and private education, so we have a great talent base. And roads and infrastructure, you can just connect. Utilities are low, everybody is now on broadband. So I still say the world is flat, but it is an absolute gem to be able to do business in Ohio.
Hi, I'm Jim Roos, and today I interview guests that are going to help us peel back the layers on why Ohio is such a great place to start a business. You know, if I was to go in the marketplace and say, what areas are the hubs of fintech and insurtech and financial services overall, Ohio may not be at the top of that list. Why do people misunderstand that? Why is it such a learning experience for those that you're going to visit and meet with?
Yeah, I think maybe it's not even a misconception, but I think people tend to focus on New York and California, especially in the earlier stage companies. They think I have to be close to the money, or I have to be close to this, this large city, whereas they're thinking of Ohio as maybe a flyover state, which I think we're finally shedding that reputation where we were the Rust Belt, the flyover state, but now that we're making a name up for ourselves with our 3 Cs, I talking about the metropolitan areas, yep. Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. You've got healthcare in Cleveland, you've got a lot of startups in Columbus, and you're talking banks and insurance companies in Columbus, and then banks and insurance companies in Cincinnati. There's a lot of strength, and I said this the other day, that think about trying to go around Manhattan, it might take you an hour and a half to go through the city. I just drove down to Cincinnati in an hour and a half, right. And you can kind of combine all of the 3 metropolitan areas into one big city if you think about it that way.
Now first, Judy, I want to ask, how is the Ohio Department of Insurance really supporting innovation in the insurance industry here in Ohio?
Well, it really starts with the whole administration. It starts with Governor DeWine, Lieutenant Governor Husted, and everything that they do to encourage innovation and new technologies. And what we did specifically was several years ago stand up an emerging products and innovation initiative. And what that was about was really streamlining communication with companies that wanted to, that had ideas for emerging products, for new ways of doing business in the insurance industry. And that could be a brand new company, an Insurtech, we like to say, or it could be one of the companies that I would call the old guard, somebody who's been around for 100 years or 150 years, who's finding a new way to reach and meet the needs of its consumers. So I'm happy to say, have been successful in streamlining communication and really acting as a concierge. Somebody who can take a company through that regulatory process, give them a roadmap for what they'll be required to do, help them understand what our expectations are for consumer protection, and then on the end of that, get to the compliance side. How do we ensure that we're protecting our consumers? That's our first and foremost goal, and I'm happy to say that the companies share that goal as well. So over the past 12 months, I'm also happy to say we've helped 17 companies get through that process. And I've been part of those meetings where we say, we'll give you an answer within 30 days. And that's a surprise to them, that we'll be definite in at least giving them a roadmap to success.
We have 9 very large incumbents on the insurance side. We have, I think we're the top 2 ranked in terms of Fortune 500 banks. So lots of banking presence. I think from an ecosystem standpoint, we just have all the pieces of the formula that are necessary to attract businesses. And then that's just my job, is to shed a lot of light on the ecosystem and make sure that we're talking to the companies out there in Ohio. We're also talking to companies outside of Ohio and introducing them into the community.
Can you tell us a bit more about what the state brings to this entrepreneurship spirit and how the state itself actually helps Cintrifuse and these organizations at the same time?
My first job was in the California legislature, so I really got exposure to how policy is used to build out the economy. And the levers that the state can pull can have a huge impact. And I have been blown away at what I have seen in Ohio in terms of different stakeholders really thinking big about what the Midwest can become. Because it's no particular city, it's no single region. You have to think holistically. And I do think what the state has been pushing in terms of tech transfer in our universities, building innovation districts, thinking completely different about talent, thinking very aggressively about inclusivity and diversity is not box to check off, but competitive advantage is something that's really synergistic with innovation. And so those pieces are coming together. It's early on, but we've had some signature events. Obviously, Intel's coming to town. And when you're bringing in that much high-tech brain power, you know that's going to have cascading benefits across the state. So nurturing that at any cost is absolutely huge. And I do think that with all the federal money that's kind of coming in, the US is embarking upon an unprecedented industrial policy, whether it's kind of building infrastructure, CHIPS and Science Acts, or whether it's the IRA Act, which is largely a climate tech act. The potential for the state to help coordinate that towards a common ambition could really create that unfair advantage for the Midwest, and I'm really looking forward to partnering with them at many, many levels. So you can't think in a silo, you need to think holistically, and even and to some extent you need to think multi-state as well, because I like to think about Ohio and Kentucky and parts of Indiana as a great supply way to the world. We're the great supply way of manufacturing products, or the great supply way of ideas. We're certainly the great green supply way, as there's a lot of movement there. We're now the #1 hub for Amazon in the US with their Air Prime headquarters. And so there's a lot of advantages, but you got to work. It takes a village. You can't just do it as a city.
I see you at a lot of events. I see JobsOhio as a booth at a lot of events internationally as I'm speaking. Why?
Well, there's probably two reasons. One is that we are definitely trying to get the word out that Ohio is the place to be. It's not a tagline. It's really, we've got, again, all the pieces of the formula to help businesses be successful in the state. But the other item there is that we have the opportunity to do it because of the way we're structured, to be a nonprofit, privatized economic development organization, which is funded by the state, or the OHLQ. It gives us the opportunity to do things like going to where a lot of the people are and being able to market the way we can. We've done an Ohio is for Leaders campaign where we were getting into the larger cities like Chicago and New York City to make people notice Ohio. So just those two things are really helpful to be able to do the things that we do.
That's about all we've got time for. I just want to say a massive thank you to our guests for providing their insights on the show, and for organisations like JobsOhio for showing us around and really getting under the skin of this brilliant, hard-working state. Also, a massive thank you to you, our viewers. You can obviously catch all the series and much more over at ffnews.com and of course YouTube, but especially LinkedIn, where you'll see me in the comments. Thank you very much and goodbye.